Hello friends, how are you doing today? So today I'm going to share a new project with you. So it's still a form, but this time this form is a little bit different, as you can see here. So this form I'm using the idea from the typeform.com. So basically the idea is like this. So for every question in the form, I'm making the question in the whole page. So basically one question, one page, okay? So here, as you can see, this is the start page, maybe just the home page. You can put some information about your form, what is the purpose of this form, just something like that, okay? So you can have a form name here, and you can put the description of the form here. And here we have a start button to start the form. Also, we also can set a valid time for date time for the form. So we can set when this form is available, and when this form is not available, you can set an end date and time for this form as well. All right, and at the same time, you also can have a maximum allowed responses for this form. You can set it up in the script, okay? And for the second item here, I already explained, you can have a validation, valid from and valid to for this form. And you also can choose the different pictures and for the background of the questions, okay? So you can make a different background image for each questions. And also you can use the regular expression to do the form validation for your questions, right? So that's all the functions in this form. And let me do a very quick demo for this. All right, so I already host this form on the Netlify. Okay, so I can have an app like this. And so if you are hosting a Google Apps Script web app on this website, you don't have that annoying Google security stuff. It's always have a nav like that. Let me show you. So if you go to the code, it will show you something very ugly, I think. Yes, is a terms of service is like this. It's have a nav bar here. But if you are hosting this web app on someone else, you can get rid of it. So it looks a little bit better. And you also can give a custom URL for this form, for this web application, okay? So I also will let you know how to do that in the Netlify website, okay? So let's move on to the form. All right, so you click this start, it will going to bring you to the first question. So here is the first name. And as you can see here, I only have an input here. You have the name, you have the question, title, and also you have a description, all right? And you also can give a placeholder for this input. And we have two buttons here. So this one is go to previous page, and this one right now is disabled because this is not valid. So this is a required field. You can see this is a restart here. So if I put my name here, as you can see, I can click this next button. And at the bottom, you also have what is this? It's like a progress bar here. So you can see how many questions should be asked in this form. And this current one is the first one. Okay, so it's 1/7. All right, so if I didn't put anything here, you should also get a message like this. You also can define it in the script. Okay, so this is a simple validation for the name. you can use the regular expressions in the script, so you can do a little bit more complex validation for this field. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So next one is email. So it's similar to the name, basically the input field. Okay, as you can see, the background image is changed. All right, so for the email, I did a regular expression match. So we only allowed the lowercase letters A to Z and numbers and underscore and a dot. All right, so if I put uppercase, I should get something like that. So let's just put my email address here. All right, so you can use whatever regular expression like. Okay, so let's go to next question. So this one is a demo for the radio buttons. So this will replace the drop downs because we have one page for one question, so I don't think we need to use the select drop downs. Okay, so here I didn't use it. I use radio button for single select and checkboxes for multiple select. All right. So this is a required item, so you need to select any at least one item, so you can move. You can go ahead. All right. So next one. So this is the checkbox. All right. For the checkbox, you can if this is required, so you can define how many items should be selected. Okay, so for this one, I set up at least 2 items should be selected. So I select 2, so also I can select more. All right, so at least you need to select 2 of them. But this can be configured in the script. I will explain that to you later. All right. So if you select less than 2 items, you should get a message like this. This message can be configured in the script. Okay, so next one is a comment section. So it looks like an input, but this can so you can have multiple lines. Okay, so like this. All right. So this one is a date picker, so you can pick up a date. All right, like this. So if you didn't pick a date, you also get an error message like this. All right. So the last one is a file uploader. So I got some requests, some comments in below my video to asking for these features. So I usually didn't do it because it was going to cost me some time to do it in the script because it's going to create a file on your Google Drive. All right. So usually I don't do that, but I have some videos. They're only for this file uploader. So this time I decided to do it because it looks like it is very important field for you guys. So you can click on it and you can try to select a picture. All right. So you also can do some configuration for this file uploader. You can limit the file size. You can do a limit for that. You can set up a maximum file size. So if I select a very big file, I'm sorry, you also can set up the acceptable file type. So here I only set the images and the PDF. So as you can see here, I have some other files. I cannot select them. All right, so all right, let's set a file, set a PDF, and I can do the submit. And you have this this animation here for the submitting process. So because of this stuff, this file, it will going to cost some time. I don't know, maybe something is wrong. It depends on the Okay, I got the confirmation here, so it's successfully submit to the. So if I get this message, that means the submission is successful. All right, for this message, I think it's a bug from the view. All right, I already raised the ticket for this issue. I don't know what happened, and maybe, but it doesn't affect the function of this web app. We still can upload files. So if you check my spreadsheet here, so this is the response we just submitted. As you can see, I have name, email, gender, the program languages I have chosen, and I have comments. I have 3 lines here, and the due date, and the file uploaded. If I check, that is a PDF. All right. And if I check my drive, I should have the file. I'm a human being. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, okay, I don't want to do that. That's stupid. All right, so this is a PDF just created. Let me show you where is the file. Okay, as soon as the file is created, in this uploaded. So, okay, I created a lot of files here because I did some tests before. I think this one is the latest one, if you look at the time. All right, so this is a file. I hope I can see it. Okay, it's a large file. All right, so I think that's all the stuff I'd like to share for the demo. Okay, so you can see this is just working fine, except this error. I think the Vue team should fix it later. Not the issue. So you can go back to home page. Also, you can go back to the previous step. All right, let's go back to home. All right, so that's the app, that's the form, and let me show you how to use this tool if you'd like to use it. So first of all, you can either go to GitHub, or you can use this link in the description of this video. Okay, so I will put a copyable link. If you click the link, it should bring you to a page to make a copy of this file to your Google Drive. And also you can use this one. So you can click this one. So it will bring you to this page. You just click this button to make a copy of this document to your Google Drive. So once you do that, you can go to the file on your Google Drive, and please go to the tools and script editor. So for the first thing you need to do, you need to deploy this project. Okay, deploy this project as a web application. Right, so since I already did that, so you go to this publish menu and deploy, and deploy as web app. And here, for the first time, should be a new revision here, and you need to choose so execute the app as yourself, and you can decide who should have access to this web app. For me, I choose anyone, and update. So you will get a URL like this. So this is a URL to your web app. You copy this URL, and you can try it now. All right. So for you, the Google should ask you for the authorization for this web app to your Google data. So because I already did that, so you don't see that pop up. All right. So you just need to authorize for the access to your data. So everything should be fine, and you should see a page like this. All right. So if you don't want to change anything, you can just use it. But I'm very sure you need to do some modification because this stuff you don't need to see them on your form. I'm very sure about it. So since you can do, a lot of configurations for your form. So the first you can set up the maximum responses for your form. So by default I set up 500. All right. Also you can do the update for the validate from date time and the valid to date time. Okay. So this is a format like this. So in this date function here, maybe object here, you can pass 6 parameters here. So the first one is the year. So the second one is a month. So this month is start from 0. So if it's January, you should put the 0 here. All right. So the next one is the date, and this one is for the hour, and this is a minute, and this is second. All right, I think that second is enough. I believe you can also set the millisecond as well. So you can set the time here, not here. This is just instruction, so you can set it up in the script. It's all in this GAS /app.js file. Okay, so let me show you where you can do the modification. So we here have a form object. So here you can set up the maximum responses for your form, and this is a validate from date, this is a valid to. So if you don't need it, you can put a null here. Okay, you can put a null here. Okay, and the visible don't need to do it, don't need to update to touch this one. And this is the start page for this form. So don't change this session, and you can change the button name. So this button name is the so the tooltips for this button. So you can change it whatever you want, you'd like to show with the users. Okay, and this is the icon of the button. So if you don't like this play button, you can choose whatever button you like. I use all the icons from this material design icons, so you can pick any buttons you like. All right, so you just search and find some buttons. You just pick the name of this button. So you can. So this is the name of the button. You can put whatever name. So you can find on this website and replace it in the code. Okay, so this is a button icon. I put this play arrow button here, and this is the title of the start button. Not the start button, is start page. So if you see is a start page here, so you can do the modification there in the code. And this is the subtitle. Okay, so you can use HTML for this subtitle. As you can see here, for this one, I use a p tag here for all of this content. Don't change this next, because this is the next page. We're going to be the first element in this item. So I put 0 here. So this is style. We are going to be the background image for this start page. Okay, so you don't need to do any change because I set up the images on the above. So you can change. I will explain that later. All right. So this is start page. You can do all the configuration in this start object. And also for the same way, we have an end page object here. You can do some configurations here. So for this one, I think you don't have as much stuff to be configured because it's just a confirmation message. And if something wrong happened, it will be going to be an error message. Okay, so you also can have an end button icon name and the end button name. Okay, All right, so the most important stuff here is about this form items. So this items is an array of questions. Okay, so here for questions, I added almost all the available item types in this project. So you will have input type, so just for single line input, and you will have radio for single select, and checkbox for multiple selection, and the text area for multiple line input, and the date for date picker, and the file for the file uploader. All right, so it covers all the stuff, and I have a comment for each of these parameters in the object. Okay, let me take example for this input. So you have the title, is the title description, so it just looks like a subtitle, and the placeholder, you can have a placeholder for this input. And this is parameters for the regular expression. So here I just use the not empty pattern for this field. So you can have whatever patterns you like. And you also can modify this modifier for the regular expression. Okay, so the settings here. So if you don't want to change it, you can keep it as default. And this is an error message. You can do some configurations here, right? So if this question is required, you need to set this required as true. Okay, so if it's not required, you can change it to false. All right, for this valid and the value, you can keep it as the default for null. All right. So as you can see here, for this email input, is almost everything should be is the same setup, just different for this regular expression patterns here. I do some setup here. All right. So for the radio type, title, description, error, required, valid. Only difference is this is options. So for radio, it should have a list of options you can choose. So you can do the available items here in this array. All right. So for the checkbox, it's almost the same as the radio button. So the only difference here is you can set up a minimum select items and a maximum select items. So if the maximum select item is null, that means you can select all of them. Okay, so and the value should be an array because we can select multiple items for this checkbox. Okay, so the option is also for all the available items you can select. All right, so the next one is a text area. This one is very similar to the input. The only difference is we're using text area in the code, so you can input multiply content. Okay, so all right. So next one is for the date, and not much to be explained here. So I think the only thing is this default value. So I put a current date. Always put a current date for the default value. So you can keep it empty if you don't want it. Okay. You also can set up a different date. So maybe you can set up maybe a default date like you can set up date like this. Okay, maybe 30 if you like. If you leave it as empty, it will going to get the current date. Okay. And the last one is the file. So the file, I keep it simple. I keep only the single file select. So I didn't put a multiple variable here. So I handle one file each time. All right. So you can set up a maximum size in KB. Okay, I set it up is 5,000 KB, like 5 MB, like that. All right, so for the file types you can select. You can set up the file types, only allowed file types like all the images and the PDF. So you can do more, maybe .excel, something like that. Okay. if you like to, if you can put a null here, so you are going to take all the available files. Okay. All right. So I think that's almost everything you can set up. You need to configure for your form. Okay. So for some items, don't need to just delete it. So if you need to add new items, let me try to do a new one. Maybe I can do name here. If I need to add a new one, I just copy the which kind of input I'd like to use. So you make a copy of them, and you can make a copy and place the whatever position you'd like to use. Since this is array, so the order you put the content in this array, it will be the order of the pages for your form. All right. So I just make a copy of the first full name. Let's make it this one to first name. So this is the first name, and I make this one to last name. All right. So maybe what's your first name, and what's your last name, and then your last name, and then your first name. Okay, I just add a new item to the form, and since this is an array, so remember for the last item in this array, don't put a comma here, because I believe this will cause some issue. Okay, remember that. So I just add a new items here. So once you do some modification to your code, you need to republish your project. So choose a new revision and update. So once I update it, let's try to see if anything is updated in the form. All right. So nothing changed on the home page because we didn't do anything change. So as you can see, the first name is here. So let's put my first name here and try the next one. I got the last name. So this title will be used as the header in the responses in the spreadsheet. Okay, just for your information. So right now we don't have them, but if I finish the submission, we should have this header line updated as well. All right. So what I have input last name here. Last name, email. Let's just pick some random items and no comments. Leave it as the default one, and choose a file to upload. Let's choose this logo here and submit. All right. Since this file, okay, let me try to see. I forgot to mention this because I create a UID for each response. So you also can see it here, this UID. As you can see, this first name is updated, last name is updated. So this one is not invalid anymore because we have new field in the form. So we can delete it. All right, you have the file, you have the ID. I think anything I'm missing. So all right, for the background images. So here we have 3 const variables here. So this is the image for your start page, and this one is for the background image. I got all the image from this website. Okay, I believe you know this website because these images are free to use for everyone. Okay, so you can pick your favorite images you like. So I suggest you to pick some images in light background because the text is black. So if you pick up some images very dark, you will not see the text very clear. Okay. So basically, you only need to, because if you like to use this image, you can copy the image address and put them in this array, or for the start page, you can put it here. For the end page, you can put it here. So if you'd like to, so this form image should, so if you have 8 items for your form, you should have 8 images in this form images. If you don't have enough image, the script will use the start page as a default one. Okay, so if you only have let me maybe clear this one. Still comment here. I cannot do it. So if you don't have enough, the script, I'm going to use it for the, let me try to search where I did the setup. Okay, so if this URL in this form images is not found, we're going to set this one. So if the URL is found, we're going to use it. If it's not found, I'm going to use the start page. Okay, start image. All right, so that's the setup. So for whatever image you like, you can put them here. So also, since this is array, please remember, don't add a comma here, since this is the last item. All right. I think, and this is the app name. So this is going to be used for, I don't know for what. I don't remember. Okay, so you can try it. I think it should for this one. Don't know. I don't remember because I coded a lot today. So I think that's almost it for. And maybe I forget one last thing. So if you'd like to host a page like this on this Netlify website, it's very, very simple to do that. I think netlify.com. So you only need to go to this website, and you can create a free account. So let me show you the file you should upload. So here in this project, if you go to GitHub, you should see a folder. Yes, a folder called Netlify, and we only have one file here. All right. So for any Google web app, you only need to change this iframe. So the source of this iframe. So you only need to put the web app link here and replace this one with yours. Okay. So once you replace it, you can upload this folder to this website, so you can use it. So let me do it. So you only need to go to your local file. Let me find my folder. So I have a folder here, have an index file. Remember, you need to you need to have at least this index. Don't change this index name. You need to have it because this is a default setup for this website. So you only need to drag this folder here, and you should have a website hosted, and it will generate a new URL for you. But you can modify it in this site settings, so you can change the site name to whatever name you like. Okay, so I just deploy the new website. All right. So just easy like that. Okay. So I think I covered almost everything for today's project. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, or other requirement about to build a form like this. If you need my help, and you can send me an email, and you can also leave some comments below my video. Okay, so have a good weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.